All right, folks, let's talk about free speech. It's the right to speak your mind without getting your teeth kicked in. Sounds simple, right? Well, it's the bedrock of a functioning democracy. Without it, no challenging the government, no new ideas, just a whole lot of nodding along. Think about it. Want to criticize a bad law? Free speech. Want to tell off a politician who deserves it? Free speech. Want to share a ridiculous meme that makes everyone laugh or groan? You guessed it, free speech. This freedom lets us hold power to account. It sparks debate and innovation. It lets us be our weird, wonderful, sometimes annoying selves. But here's the catch. It's a lot easier said than done. In small groups, free speech often thrives. Your book club, the family dinner table, sometimes. These are spaces where, ideally, everyone knows each other well enough to disagree respectfully, or at least hide their eye rolls. There's a level of trust. You know your Aunt Carol might disagree with your stance on pineapple pizza, but she's not going to disown you for it. Probably. This allows for more open and honest conversations. But even in these intimate settings, things can go south. Family feuds, anyone? It shows us that even with good intentions, navigating free speech can be like walking a tightrope. Here's where things get interesting. Censorship isn't always some guy in a suit slapping a big censored stamp on things. It can be subtle, like peer pressure or self-censorship. Ever avoided saying something controversial at a party because you didn't want to start a fight? That's self-censorship. Or how about the fear of being canceled online for expressing an unpopular opinion? That's the pressure to conform in action. Indirect censorship can be just as powerful as any law. It creates an atmosphere of fear where people hesitate to speak their minds. And that, my friends, is a slippery slope. Section 4. From blasphemy to hate speech. Laws that muzzle our minds. Now for the more direct approach. Laws. Throughout history, governments have used laws to control what people say. Blasphemy laws, for example, punish people for insulting religion. Then there's hate speech, a hot topic these days. These laws aim to prevent speech that incites violence or hatred against certain groups. Sounds good, right? But defining hate speech is like trying to nail jelly to a wall, messy and open to interpretation. The problem is, one person's hate speech is another person's strongly worded opinion. It becomes way too easy to silence dissent under the guise of protecting people. And that's a dangerous game to play. Section 5. The unseen hand, how culture dictates what we can and can't say. Hold on to your hats, because here's the kicker. Culture plays a huge role in shaping what we consider acceptable speech. What flies in one culture might be taboo in another. Take comedy, for example. A joke that has one audience rolling in the aisles might offend another. It's all about context, folks. And when a dominant culture holds sway, it can be tough for minority voices to be heard. This is where things get really complex. Because how do we balance free speech with the need to protect marginalized groups from hate? It's a question with no easy answers. Section 6. Free speech utopia? Why it's a tough sell in a crowded room. So is absolute freedom of speech possible? In a perfect world, maybe. But in the real world, with its billions of people and even more opinions? Not so much. The reality is, free speech is messy. It can lead to brilliant ideas and hurtful words. It requires constant vigilance, a willingness to engage in difficult conversations, and a thick skin. We need to be able to call out BS when we see it, but also be open to hearing perspectives that challenge our own. It's a balancing act, folks, and one that we're constantly figuring out. So buckle up, because the debate over free speech, it's far from over.